So good day class, this is another course on the JK flip-flop. We have two types of JK flip-flops, the clocks and the clock JK flip-flop, but with asynchronous inputs. We're going to get back to what this is. So starting with the clock JK flip-flop, this is the truth table or the function table, and we're going to be tackling this question using the function table. So since this is dependent on the clock signal, which is a PGT in this case, that is a positive going transition signal, but an NGT will be a clock that is going downwards, so that's the falling edge of the clock. And now because this particular flip-flop is dependent on the clock signal, we're only going to draw our lines at the clock signal because it's only at the clock signal that a change is going to happen. This is how we're just going to supposed to actually drop it down. So that's exactly what to do now. Just to give you a little diagram, we'll have something like this, something exactly like this. Now to draw our output waveform Q, assuming Q initial is equals to 0, that's what I have just given the question. So we're going to start with 0. Now next, you're only going to look at what comes immediately after your PGT. You can see our PGT is here. So immediately after this PGT, what came? J became 0 and K is 1. And when you look at the table, you see this here, Q will be 0. So in this question, Q naught is actually given as 1. So we're going to start with 1. Okay, so this Q is going to start from 1 instead of 0. So start with 1. Now at this point, J is 0, K is 1. So we're going to, when we sit down the table, K is going to become 0. So we're going to drop down. We're going to ignore every other input to get to the next PGT, positive going clock signal. Now at this positive going clock signal, what do we see immediately after it? J is 1, K is 1. What does that tell you on the table? Q toggles. What they mean by Q toggles is that if Q is 1, it becomes 0. If it was 0, it becomes 1. So it's like it changes state at that point. So it's going to become 1 here. Now immediately after this point, what do we see? J is 0, K is 0. There will be no change. So we're just going to keep going as 1. Now the next one, immediately after this PGT here, what do you see? J is 1, K is 0. What do we see here? Q be 1. So Q is going to continue be 1 to get to the next PGT. Next, we're going to see here J is 1, K is 1. What does that tell you? What are we supposed to do according to We're supposed to toggle Q. So we're going to toggle it. So now it's at 1, we're going to toggle it to 0. And at this endpoint, what do we see? J is 1, K is 1. We still have to toggle Q. So Q is now 0, we toggle it back to 1. This is the output waveform for this particular field.